4, 2, 3, 1, πάμε. Ιδιαίτερος τύπος νούμερο 44. 44. Πριν να κάνω εισαγωγή για τον καλεσμένο, few disclaimers. Πρώτον, είμαστε μια παραγωγή της Copper Media Collective. Μπορείτε να βρείτε, κάνουμε launch στη σελίδα μας, μπορείτε να την βρείτε στο www.coppermediacollective.com. Η Copper Media Collective, οι παραγωγές της είναι τον Get Fact, ο Ιδιαίτερος Τύπος, το Ώσπου να έρθει πίτσα, το Triple Podcast. Τούτα όλα μπορείτε να βρείτε στο YouTube, στο Facebook, στο TikTok, ξέρετε. Επίσης, Ιδιαίτερος Τύπος έχει TikTok, κάνετε μας follow, like, whatever, ξέρετε. Αυτά. Και πάμε πολλά γλύωρα στον καλεσμένο μας. Σήμερα, πριν να ξεκινήσω πάλι ο καλεσμένος, να πω ότι τούτο το επεισόδιο είναι το πρώτο επεισόδιο που μπορεί να γίνει στα αγγλικά. Όσοι δεν καταλάβετε, θα βάλω υποτίτλους. Όσοι δεν καταλάβετε την προφορά μου, tough luck. Να προσπαθήσω να κάνω όσο πιο χορκάτικη γίνεται. For the purpose of this podcast. Σε απόλυτα ελληνικά. Και πάμε πολλά γλυόρα στον καλεσμένο μας. Today I'm here with Katerina. Katerina, I think she's a recruiter.
I am.
She has an HR agency, a recruiting agency here in Nicosia. I would like you to tell us what kind of a business this is, because I have an idea, but I don't know if I'm describing it very well.
Yeah. Well, I'm
to you, Katerina.
okay. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. And the nuts and bolts of what we do are exactly in the title, as you said. So we are we're an HR agency and recruitment agency. So we offer both services. So we work with candidates, which are job seekers. So people that are looking for jobs or looking for help with their career. So we will help people who try to find a specific job in their sector, or we will help them if they need assistance with their CV, or they need advice about how to launch their online profile, since everything now is online. And we do the exact same for businesses. So with businesses, they hire us to fill their vacancies, or they hire us as an outsourced HR business partner. Mm-hmm. So you might not have in-house HR, you hire us. We hang around on the periphery, and we have a set agreement with the company about the services they need from an HR company. So it can be anything from benchmark salary surveys, coaching sessions, terminations, exit interviews, the full HR cycle.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
Before we go to my first question, I'd like to take that bottle of water. Yes, thank you, production. Thank you, production.
Production.
Thank you, young Jamie.
Eternally grateful.
So you bring people and businesses together?
Yes.
That's the whole point of it?
That's the point.
Are you also consulting people on their career-wise? Like, I come to you, I have 10 years of experience in this.
Yep.
I want you to coach me and, I don't know, regularly come back to me.
Yes.
Like, you need to change, you need to this.
Yeah. So we have a lot of senior level candidates that perhaps they've got 10, 20 years experience, but they're not up to date anymore with the current trends on the market, how to present themselves. There might be people even that haven't been on an interview in such a long time, or they're juniors and don't know how to interview. So we also prepare people for job applications and interviews, that not necessarily with clients of ours, but they might, like recently we coached a very senior level lawyer because she was doing job applications in the UK. So we prepared her.
That's next level shit.
Yeah.
Because, it's a lawyer. He's supposed to have supposed to have all the fancy words and all the,
Yeah, all the tricks.
Yeah, all the tricks.
Yes.
Getting you into an agreement with all the fine.
Yes. But the competition is stiff because, legal and compliance, those sectors now, they're booming across the world. And if you are from the Middle East or the Mediterranean region relocating to the UK, you're competing in a whole different pool.
Yeah.
So she wanted guidance and assistance to understand the competition and how to apply. And because we're international, we're not a normal sort of local agency for Cyprus. So we're able to help in other global areas, which is quite cool.
So I think it's safe until now that you did a wonderful presentation of your services. That we can say, I can say the name. It's in HR Innovate.
Oh my God, we never said the name.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Where can people find you?
Well, we have our website. That's how most people find us because we have a very strong online brand. So they find us easily on Google. The website is hrinnovate.org. Normally, people reach us on LinkedIn. They reach even on Facebook. We're not on TikTok yet. So there are some platforms. Well, we're laughing, but do you know how many HR people are now on TikTok? It's like a big thing. Somebody was telling me you should be on TikTok. I was like, not sure. Not comfortable yet.
I'm on TikTok. I've been recently on TikTok. We have a webpage, as I mentioned before, on TikTok. I don't know how seriously I can take that, or even Facebook. I don't know how seriously can I take Facebook.
Yeah, you have to take it with a pinch of salt.
I have friends that have a business page on Facebook.
Yep.
Like they get messages.
Yep, we do. We're inundated. The Facebook business page gets so much traction, but it's tricky to keep up with, especially now because the job market's so vibrant. Every platform that we post on or we're active on gets a lot of movements. There's a lot to monitor.
So you need another person just to look. You need a social media manager.
Yeah, well, we do. We have in-house digital. So, I mean, that's all he does because there's so much to monitor.
It's not only posting, it's just replying to people.
Yeah.
Looking at the trends.
Yeah. No. And also because in most countries in the world, one of the number one complaints that candidates and companies have about HR and recruitment agencies is being ghosted. So you constantly hear candidates say, "Oh, there was a recruiter that was telling me about a job, and then I submitted my CV, and then poof, nothing, disappeared. I don't know what happened, why I didn't get through, what the deal was." So we have a really strict policy not to ghost anyone. So we keep everybody responded to. So we've done a lot of automation to help, but wherever possible, we do personal replies as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to talk to people, but also know their business.
Yes.
You are talking to a lawyer, so
Yeah.
You need to know how do you get all this knowledge? How do you keep track on all the trends on what the UK wants or what the Middle East? Because you're international business.
I mean, most of it is research and reading. So we might get an inquiry from a client or a candidate in a sector we've never touched. We're very transparent, so we don't promise anything that we can't deliver. So we will say that it's new to us. And then I definitely expect my team to go and learn. I mean, there's a million and one ways to learn, but we have a big emphasis on knowledge sharing and amalgamating information within the business. So we have
fancy words.
Yeah, they are. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But it's only if you do that you get to extrapolate from the knowledge base that you've got as a team, and then you can branch out. So we do have candidates and clients in a lot of sectors, but we try not to spread ourselves too thin. We can't be experts at everything. So we will do our best to learn and research. Luckily, because of our networks, if I don't know something, I'll call up a trusted candidate and be like, what does this mean? Or I'll check. But you find ways. If you're interested.
What do you think business, I don't know if it's a trend, but I've seen several recruiting agencies here in Cyprus. It's an international trend or whatever. But what do you think companies outsource this to the HR department?
Well, I mean, with the HR part of the businesses that choose to outsource, usually it's because they're a small to medium size. So they're not quite at the size where they can justify the cost of an internal HR department. So it makes sense to start slowly and have an outsourced HR partner kind of learn the ropes. And then as you get bigger and scale up, you would internalize that. So it's cost effective. And for startups and young companies, it's a nice way to get their head around HR as a function.
Okay.
With the recruitment side, it's very different. So if you come to us as headhunters or recruiters, you're going to have to pay us commission fees. So the companies that use us are usually companies that are either recruiting and have been trying to recruit for a while and haven't been able to attract talent, so they want the help, or they have so many vacancies and they have the magnitude and budget to afford a specialist service like ours, where they'll say, I don't have time to gather applications. Because you might, if you're a big enough company, you might put an application out or an advert for, I don't know, a bookkeeper. You might get 250 CVs. Somebody has to sit and read every CV. Filter it, decide, do all the arrangements, all the calling, all the screening. That in itself is a cost. Yeah, well, yeah, most don't, which is another thing that, it causes issues. So if you look at it in terms of return on investment and billable hours, a lot of companies are quite prudent. And they say, I'm not going to waste a senior manager's time sifting through 250 CVs. Let's give it to that company. It's their problem. They'll deliver me a short list because that's how we work. We've already interviewed people. Get my job done. So usually they're coming to us because it's a cost-effective, time-saving solution. And they know that our expertise is profiling.
Yeah.
Theirs not necessarily.
I think I was looking at the job vacancies recently, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years. I think there's an issue of describing what they actually want.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can say this, but a friend of mine went to the interview. Like, they have this piece of paper, like 2 pieces of paper that they say, I want you to know this.
Yeah.
In order to do this.
Yeah.
Like they had it. And it's an A4.
Yeah.
This in English.
Yeah.
An A4 page, that whole thing, like, I want you to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
So you went into the interview. It was a short list. So you went into the interview and they were asking him things or whatever. And at the end, they were like, do you have a question? And she was like, okay, you put all these things that I need to know how to do. But you never said a job experience somewhere. Like, do you need to have a job experience for this? And they were like, no, but maybe we need a candidate to know how to do these things, but not everything. So they were sending like
mixed signals.
So they attracted like people that were juniors, but also they attracted people who were skillful and experienced for it. And it's a whole different budget.
But sometimes it's done on purpose. Because
what do you mean?
Well, it's like a fishing expedition. So I've got a budget in mind. Ideally, I might want somebody who's experienced, but I want to see what I get for my money, to put it really coldly. So I'm going to go to the kind of minimum of my range. I'm going to put an advert out that's vague enough to bring me both types. So I'm going to interview a few of each and then see, okay, so around about, that's what I get for a senior level. Might be worth it. But look at what I get in the junior or mid levels and I can train them up.
Yeah, but that's whole more CVs. Like you get 250, this time you get 5,000.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
it's true.
Doesn't it beat the purpose of it?
Look, it's not efficient in many ways, but then that's why they come to people like us. And they sometimes tell us from the get-go, ideally I would like somebody senior, but I wouldn't want to discount the mid-level junior range. Can you show me?
Because they want to save money.
Yeah, or they might be a better fit. They don't know. Sometimes when you start recruiting, you're not sure. You have a lot of companies that say, no, I don't have time to train people. I don't want a junior. I need somebody who's ready and can just do it. But then the senior level candidates, they find they're too stuck in their ways. They know a certain format.
Yeah.
They're not as flexible. So they change their mind. So sometimes you have to, it's kind of a process. Okay. And that's where it can be vague. It's not always fair on the candidates, but...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I always tell clients, I think the best advice is be honest. Tell them in the interview. I might be considering this as a junior. I might consider it as a senior. I'm here today to explore. How do you feel? I think, like with your friend's case, that might have helped her because she would have known straight away, okay, I'm in with a shot. I don't know which level they judge me at, but I'm going to make my best pitch.
No, I think because she was experienced, she was going to be like, okay, guys, you don't know what you want. I know what I can do for you.
She might have taken it that way, yeah.
I know what I can do for you. It's maybe 3,000 a month. You can do that. Call me if you don't.
Yeah, it's risky.
Bye.
Yeah.
Like you prepare for it, it's like what you said. It's unfair for the candidate. You prepare for the worst because you see a piece of paper like this.
Yeah.
And maybe you study before. Do you need to study before?
Study.
Before interview.
It depends on the sector. So our tech positions, because 9 times out of 10, at least one round of interviews is going to be of a technical basis. So you have to, and sometimes they'll give you a brief before the interview and they'll say the candidate needs to be prepared for this test or this exercise. So yeah, if you've got half a brain, you'll go and study that exact thing and make sure that you're brushed up. Same with legal and compliance type. There is things to study, but it's not study in the academic sense. I think you know what you know, and there's only so much you can do before an interview, but you definitely have to study who you're going to meet. This is one of the top tips we give candidates. Don't go blind into an interview. Find out what they do, who they are. Check the LinkedIn profiles. Do a bit of digging and try and get into the vibe and the whole culture of that organization and that interview, because interviews are a performance in the end.
There's both sides of this. Like the company's trying to decode what they want and put it in a piece of paper or put it in an ad. But from the other side, someone reading the code and trying to decode what they actually want.
Yeah.
So you need to pass a message across.
Yeah.
Have you ever been with a candidate or interviewed or listened to an experience of someone went into an interview and didn't have a clue
what it was about?
Yeah. Not beforehand, like afterwards. Like he's been there, like he read the ad and he was like, okay, I'm fit for this. And
yeah, we've had quite a few. So, unfortunately, quite a few like that. I mean, there are certain industries that are a bit fluid and they're a bit loose with their boundaries. So, for example, Forex, fintech, but more Forex. Some of the job descriptions are a bit vague. So they'll ask for business developers, sales officers. You want someone to sell. But, they're not really saying that they need to have a knowledge base in financial markets, that there's a technical element to the business. It isn't all phone sales and a hard sell. You need to know your market. You need to know perhaps that if you're talking to Australia, South Africa, or the US, antisocial hours, time zones, your English needs to be of a particular level to gather information at that level with accents. There's all kinds of subtleties that usually those industries, because they move so fast, they breeze through interviews. So we've had candidates go into an interview at 10:06, they're calling me. I'm like, and they said, it's done. I'm like, literally?
5 minutes?
5 minutes, in and out. They don't know what happened. And I'll say, well, what was the interview? Well, we said, hey, how are you doing? They looked at my CV and said, okay, thanks. No idea. They're not even sure which role they were judged fit or not fit for. But then that's why you come to a recruiter, because we're a middleman. So then we go and chase for you and find out what on earth is going on.
So you're doing this kind of job?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you should. I mean, you're an advocate. You should.
I've heard so many stories, like people going in, like taking tests.
Yeah, it's bad.
Doing the interview and like they get, I don't know, an email and they say, okay, unfortunately, we hired someone else.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
How am I going to get better at this?
Yes. No, we're very pushy. Our clients know us for what we do. So and I always, when we sign new clients, I warn them that we do that. So there shouldn't be any surprises when we're hounding you saying, reject the person, no problem. At the end of the day, that's life. But we need constructive feedback. It's the professional, polite etiquette in the sector that you're in, that you should be offering people that have visited your company and given you their time. You should tell them why. So we try.
In a more formal way.
Yeah, it's appropriate. We try. Most clients do. We're lucky. We have good clients. We try.
You mentioned it before. I have an issue with job titles.
Yeah.
Like, they're so vague and they don't mean anything. Like, a marketing director. So you mean you have a department, maybe several people. So you need someone to manage this marketing department. But you go there and it's only you.
Yeah.
And there's never been anyone before.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's with the job titles?
I don't know. I think some of it's laziness. I think companies, especially now with COVID and everything that's gone on, I think they're tired and recovery is aggressive. So they're rushing. So there isn't as much thought that goes into those things as there should be. Because it would be much better in the preamble to the job description to say, to manage the marketing function, not the team, because there is no team. So, you know, there are ways and means. But again, this is very pro recruitment, but this is what you do when you get a recruiter. So we also take over the copy, and we do a lot of the content for the clients so that the candidates get the full picture. So we will ask them, okay, you want a marketing director. Are they directing a department, a function, a team? And when they say, no, there's no people, it's just them, then we can tell when we screen people, you're going in for an interview, there's no team, it's just you.
Yeah.
So you are director level. It indicates the level, which is accurate and appropriate. But we're telling you that it's just you. You're starting a function.
Especially in tech.
Yeah.
You see that something like a technology advisor and an IT, and it's the same thing. Yeah. Actually, at the end of the day.
Yeah. But there is a lot of jargon that's bandied around. And I think some industries I guess they don't have a lot of respect for how it appears to the candidate. They just need their job done and they want the chair filled. But they're not thinking that actually it might be misleading. And again, you have to tell people sometimes, you might be better. You know, you might struggle to find people with this title, try this title.
But it's another, you know, it's how you sell the position and how people sell themselves for the position.
Yeah.
So you look at a CV and you see some guy, it says he's an IT for 5 years, and someone else says being a technology advisor, and then I've been a senior technology advisor for another 3 years. It's the same job at the end of the day, but it looks better.
Yeah.
When you take it someone who doesn't even know.
Packaging.
Yeah.
And that's where, that's where your CV is packaging and your interview is performance. And that's tough. And that doesn't matter what level somebody is. That's a tall order, especially if you're in a disturbed market, or if you're somebody who hasn't been on an interview in a while, or you don't know how you're competing. People assume that it's still easy because they're senior, but it's not.
So how do you prepare for an interview? I've read, I don't know if you read before how Google used to do their interviews. I'm thinking maybe it's Google or Facebook. They got a question at one point. They were asking people, why do manholes are round?
Why do what?
Do you know what a manhole is?
Yeah. Why are they round?
Yeah. That was a question.
Why would that?
Like 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh. Is that
it's not a technical question. It's more of a question.
Is it an icebreaker?
No. It's a question to see.
How do you think?
It could be anything. Why sliced bread rectangle shaped?
But what is it to see?
It's to see how the candidate would approach such a question. It could be any question. Because it's so out of place for what the company does.
It's see how your brain works. Analytically.
I'm not a fan of methods like that. I find them really unfair. I've already put you under enough stress because I'm forcing you out of your comfort zone and I'm asking you to perform and impress me.
Yeah.
Do I really need to start picking at you now and getting you to jump through hoops? Because immediately as a candidate, I'm guessing you're sitting there thinking, what's the right answer?
Yeah, but
it's stressful.
It's an icebreaker because when you go for such a high company, you're under a lot of stress and you're thinking in terms of what the company wants. So when they ask you such a question, it's kind of an icebreaker to see for the company to see if you can just like stop thinking about it in technical terms and start seeing it outside the box.
Yeah.
There is a correct answer to that.
Is there? What is it? Now I really don't make me go home and Google it. Why are manholes round?
It's because what supposedly the right answer is. It's because when they flip over, when a car passes over them, and they flip over, they don't fall inside. Any kind of manipulation to their movement, they don't fall inside, so there's not a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Whether if there was another shape, there is a form and way in place to create damage to a passing car. Anyway, the question was, how do you prepare for an interview? Like, let's not go into the specifics of a kind of job. Like, what are the general stuff?
I mean, if it's a junior level candidate, we help them prep from everything from hair, makeup, outfit, the whole 9 yards. because of, first impressions are so detrimental if you don't get them right. Are you rethinking some wardrobe choices?
Yeah, I do.
So we go into as much detail as the candidate needs and will cooperate with. Like with senior level candidates, it's much more detail specific. So we will go, like with the lady with the UK law job, there was a very, very detailed, very specific list of requirements, and everything was very prescriptive in terms of how the interview was going to go, and it was a panel.
Okay.
So when you have a specific interview to prepare them for...
How specific can it go?
Extremely. I mean, in the UK, interviews are very different to here in Cyprus. They will send you before an interview a full plan. Who will speak, when they will speak, what the panel will consist of. There's nothing left because it's seen as ethically fair.
Okay. So can you go into the specifics of a plan? Like... Yeah, because the whole day or the interview is mapped out, and it's obviously got some sort of order. We don't always do that. Order.
But there's order. So the candidate knows, which means if I know who's on the panel, if I've got any common sense, I'm going to spend a lot of time researching the profiles of those people. It will tell me something about what angle they're coming from. So we tell people, prep for the interview. Who's the interviewer? Is it HR? Is it a manager? Is it a decision maker? Is it your potential future boss? Because interviews are a two-way process. If you get to meet who could be your future boss, it's also for you to assess. Can I work with this person? Do I want to see them on a Monday morning? Or are you going to meet them and go, whoa, not for me? Because it might be. We always assume that the interview is sort of company heavy and the company has to like you to take you. But actually, it's the other way around too. Candidates need to feel that they want the job after they've been for the interview. So we try and prepare them from a mindset of be prepared to go and assess, not just perform, but you should have questions ready. Yeah. You should think about the job. Do you really want to do this? Did those people make you feel safe, happy, excited? Or did you go and think, oh, well, I don't fit, it's not for me?
I had a friend had this experience a few days ago. Like, she didn't know on the interview. She's looking for a job. Like, she's actively looking for a job. So she went on the interview, and after the interview, she was like, "No, I don't want to work for this kind of person.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind of the company, but if this guy is gonna be my boss, no.
Yeah.
And they called her back from the company, and they were like, "Do you want to do an interview with someone else?"
Yeah. It's interesting.
They figured that out.
Yeah. Well, that was good. At least they didn't.
Yeah. So, how do you make an impression? How do you know what's the right impression to do, like as a candidate?
I mean, it depends on the sector. So, if it's a sales, business development, marketing type, where you're client facing, and it's very much an extrovert's comfort zone, then obviously the idea is that you need to impress upon people, show them, emphasize your character, your interpersonal skills. You're going to impress them if you can show them, if this is how I pitch you, imagine how I pitch your clients. That's impressive. So I sit there as an employer and think, wow, this person looks, acts, talks the part. They're going to go out, they're going to pitch my product, they're going to make me look fantastic. They can talk numbers. They've got the whole 9 yards. So it's a mutual feeling of reciprocity and safety. But likewise with people like that, if they're extroverts, you as an interviewer have to be able to offer them the same amount of chemistry back, because usually those types, they're bored quick. So it's chemistry and everybody wanting the same part of the recipe. So it depends on the sector.
But extroverts are the easy ones,
Are they?
They're flashy. You know what they want. They want to feel valued. You need to have the right incentives for them. And they're
same with introverts, though. They need incentives. Their expression is different. And you've got ambiverts, and there's a whole spectrum of characters. But the point is, in an interview, you still have to be able to get out what you need to, even as an introvert.
My brother works in Sweden. He's in the tech sector. So the first job he went into, I think it was a startup company in tech. So he went all enthused in it. Like, it's my first job. I need to learn stuff, meet people, like do a little bit of networking, know how the things work. It's a different country also. everybody was an introvert.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
they went into their offices and they were like, no, I'm not gonna speak to you for the rest of the day.
That's tough.
And he was like mad at it.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers need to tell me.
Yeah. So he must be quite an unusual tech, because you do get the occasional tech, like our friend.
He's not exactly an
They're not introverts. So what is he in the middle? Is he like an ambivert?
I think, it's been 3 years now, so he's quite the introvert. He always was like that, but you went into with the enthusiasm of a junior.
Yeah.
Like, I want to learn stuff. Like,
Yeah.
give me stuff to learn.
Yeah.
So how do you hire that kind of person? Like, someone comes into you, like, he had a colleague, like, was a very experienced, very highly skillful, and he left the company because of the way they were treating him,
Ooh.
because they were pushing.
Okay.
So my brother told me he was very, very talented, very skillful, very experienced in sectors that people you rarely find, kind of.
Yeah.
So they were valuing him like very highly.
Yeah.
They offered him also a managing position, and he said no because
No interest. Yeah.
he's a tech person. And he left because things got so pushy. Like, I can do these things very well,
Yeah.
but you don't need to push me. I know how to do my work.
Yeah.
Is there a correct way how to treat these kind of people, or how to keep them? Like,
I mean, I think it's like with any relationship, the employer-employee relationship, you have to listen. If you've got an employee that you value, especially if they're so niche oriented and so talented, and they're clearly shying away from promotion, from managing, and they're saying, just leave me in my lane doing what I do best.
I need to be in a server room on my own in a dark room.
If that's what they want, I mean, who cares if that's what makes them happy? You've hired them knowing that, and you should know the profile of the people you hire in your own sector. So again, I think that's it's misguided to keep pushing them when they're clearly saying no.
Yeah.
It's listening.
But it is, we live in a world that this is kind of odd. This kind of behavior is kind of odd. Like, you don't want a managing position. You don't want to go higher up the rooms.
It's not odd in tech. We have a lot of tech candidates that don't want to do management because they want to code.
Yeah.
That's their love, their passion, their compulsion.
That's why they do their work.
Yeah, they don't want to be dealing with personnel issues and managing people. They just want to code. And most senior managers in tech, they end up not coding. There's no time. They have coders under them, but they don't get to actually code. And a lot of them don't want to do that, which is fair enough. Why should you?
I don't know. Career-based.
Well, the beauty of the coder is, though, you can be a senior coder, you can still earn a ton of money, not have the human headaches, and be left in your little world coding.
Yeah, let someone else be the bitchy manager that wants stuff to get done.
Don't worry about budgets and, she came in late and he didn't come in at all. They can't be bothered. They're not interested. They're more results-based.
Yeah. Is it a good way to look at things, like results-based? In tech, there's I'm speaking mostly in tech, but it's a sector that I know more. You get to a point that you know something very, 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 very well.
Yeah.
Like, you can only do that.
Yeah.
So that's a trick.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like a black hole.
I mean, you have to be careful putting all your eggs in one basket in any career, because you have to constantly update and be ready to learn new frameworks, new anything in any sector, because and in tech, especially where it changes and evolves so fast, to get stuck on one thing and expect to stay at top of your game won't happen. It's changing way too quickly. You'll be obsolete.
So is it a good way to train all the time? Like, how much training can you take?
I mean, I think probably the most talented developers that we work with, they never stop learning and training, just in their own personal time. They're constantly on platforms and websites trading information with other developers. They hear of new things coming out. They swallow information. They're up all night if they have to be. They don't care. But there's a compulsive element. It's a different, actually, even think of other sectors, tax and audit, corporate, much drier sectors, if you like. But if you think of the updates to legislation that happens fairly regularly, if you think of all the tax updates in Cyprus with all the double tax treaties, they have to go away and study. They have to do, accountants and auditors have to go to seminars. They have to update. You can't even do that sort of profession without updating.
There's also this all professional, I don't know how they're called, certificates.
Yeah.
Is there a thing as too many?
No, not really. I tell you what, there is. There's something to be said for too wide a selection.
Okay.
Because we have some candidates that are an eternal student. So they're constantly studying certificates, but not in one sector. So if I'm hiring somebody as a compliance person, I'm really not interested if they're doing diplomas in floristry, or they've decided that yoga instruction is another. I don't care. So sometimes candidates are a little too liberal with that information, and then it detracts from their CV. Because if I look at the CV and you've got 6 degrees, nothing's related to the other, then I'm thinking, does this person actually know what they want to be? Or am I just another part of their journey of self-discovery? I mean, it's, you need people to come in and
finance their yoga studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a good thing. I don't mind. Yeah. It's a good business from
in-house yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Do it through Zoom or whatever.
Well, and you hopefully know they won't be off sick often with back problems.
Yeah.
Maybe. See?
Sometimes quite sexy. Oh
my God. It's gone to a whole other level.
Yeah. We can have a little bit of fun. So, but isn't it scary for someone to hire a person like, you see like 10 professional certifications, like, I don't know, this guy is an auditor, he has internal auditor certification, he has charters, whatever, he has tax, he has everything. Like, I don't want this guy. He's going to come in and he's going to be looking for a degree or like a salary.
But
I don't know.
Depends what I want him for. If I want him as my CFO, then I need that on my portfolio. I need to show that my senior management personnel are the top of the heap.
Yeah.
But if I need a bookkeeper and I've got somebody coming in with, I don't know, CFA or I don't know, something more, then it really defeats the purpose. And I know that they're going to get bored quick. I don't have what they need. I can't offer them. They're going to stay for 6 months, do the job and leave.
Yeah.
So it depends. It really depends on the size of the company and what they need there and then.
But at the part of the candidate, because there's so many certificates being advertised. I think in every line of business, there's so many certificates.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point like there's a question: am I? And my CV looks that I'm over competent for this position. Like, do I need to take things off from my CV?
We get asked that a lot. Should we remove things? I think I don't think that it's one response. I think it depends on each. We tell every candidate, you might have the best CV on the planet, but you have to tweak it. And you have to sort of manipulate the order of the information, the style, depending on what you're applying for. So if I have got, I don't know, a tax and audit qualification, and I also do yoga instruction, and I'm going for a CFO position, I can leave out the yoga.
Yeah.
Take it off. Nobody cares. At that level, nobody's interested. But if I'm going to take over a yoga retreat as CFO, the whole thing might get me the job because they'll think that's super cool. She's a CFO who's going to do yoga in her office. I don't know. You have to judge it.
How about if I have a degree, master's, and a doctorate degree, and they're looking for mid-level candidates?
So in tech, if I'm looking,
should I take out my doctorate?
No, I would
PhD?
say no.
Never.
When you're looking at qualifications like that, my argument, and I'm sure there'll be HR people that will disagree with me, but considering what it takes to do one degree, let alone postgrad, undergrad and a doctorate, I think it tells employers a lot about your ability to be disciplined, your commitment and passion for your subject. To have done all that and then start to erase it for somebody else's benefit, I think is a shame. So I think you need employers that can meet you where you are, that aren't going to be scared off because you have a PhD, that are going to appreciate what you can do.
Because there's a lot of people, especially with the economic crisis. I'm not going to tell you about the pandemic, the economic crisis that came into the 11th and 2011, 2012, 13, that kind of years. A lot of people postponed their careers. Like, especially people that they were finishing school, like getting their first degree, and they were like, okay, I'm not going to find a job right now that's going to pay me a good amount of money, so why not keep studying?
Yeah.
So 3 or 4 or 5 years later, they get out and they have a PhD. Obviously, in Cyprus, or I think in Europe in general, there are more PhD candidates than positions.
Yeah.
Most of them go into the research, but still research is a topic. I think that it's getting off the academic sector, so it's getting binded more from the business point of view. So you need to research and actually end up with a product.
Yeah.
Not just research in general.
Yeah.
So they're left out into the job market.
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult for them. And they are at a different level. But it does depend on the sector. I mean, now at the moment, there's so much call for analysts, whether it's in tech or finance or fintech. They don't mind PhDs at all because you're looking at actuarial sciences and maths grads who do usually, if they want to be analysts, or they're also doing some sort of research-based post-grad or doctorate. They like that. So in that situation...
And you need to pay that. That's what I'm saying, that you need to pay that.
You do, but the market rate anyway for those sectors is very high. The whole world, because everything's more data-driven. With AI, with metrics, with even HR, a people subject, allegedly. But we're more and more data-driven metrics. So you need your analysts.
I don't know. Do the wages go down? Do you think that wages go down? Like, in terms of people qualified based on their qualifications, do the wages go down? Like, someone who had a PhD a few years ago used to get paid, like, I don't know, minimum starting salary of 2,000 euros, maybe.
Yeah.
Did they went down?
No. I mean, everybody expected after 2011, 2012, and then now with COVID that everything would drop. It didn't. Not at all. Especially with COVID, where we really thought things would tank. Not at all. Most professions held their own. Where we see wages drop is geographical. And it's the same in all countries, actually. It's the same in the UK. The more rural and remote a place is, the lower the wages. And it's directly linked to commerce and industry. So London wages are not comparable to wages perhaps in, I don't know,
Birmingham.
Yeah, there you go. Birmingham, the Brummies.
I just wanted you to say Birmingham.
Birmingham? No, I can't do the accent. No, I'm not English.
No, you're doing it. You're doing it.
No, I mean, I can't do the Birmingham accent. That's a specific...
No, I didn't know about the accent.
Oh, yeah, they have a really specific accent. Oh, is that Birmingham?
Yeah, the Peaky Blinders is a Brummy accent. And
is it really?
Yeah,
I've never watched that.
Is Birmingham.
Yeah, I can't do it. No, I'm not English enough.
Both of my siblings studied in Birmingham.
Birmingham.
First I was... Anyway.
Yeah, no. Don't know.
So, you mentioned about the COVID.
Yes. The dreaded Rona.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what I've listened up till now. And then you're going to tell me your experiences about it. So, I've heard a lot of people that they want to change careers. They're looking into their careers again. Like, what am I doing? Where I came from? Where I'm going with this kind of job? Is there a job out for me? Should I start a new career? At first, I thought it was age-based, like mostly people in their 30s.
Yeah.
In the 30s, you start to evaluate yourself. Like, what have I done? Where is this taking me? Do I want to go that way? Do I want to go a different way? I'm kind of experienced, so I know what I want to do. But I think now, because people older or younger, they're looking things in a different way. Most of them wanted to switch their jobs. Most of them. Have you noticed this?
We haven't noticed people wanting to switch their jobs. What we seem to have now is an abundance of candidates that are reevaluating and questioning everything they've done so far and what they went through in COVID. And the reason it's not specific to one niche, one sector, one age range, I think my personal belief is because COVID is one of those weird situations that happened to us all. It didn't discriminate. COVID didn't care if you were young or old or what your ethnicity is or what your sector. It happened to us all. So it was a collective trauma. And it literally brought the entire world to a halt, which was almost unthinkable. But it didn't matter whether it was the stock exchange or the emergency room in a hospital. Everything was affected. So I think people in their individual little clusters and families sat there and thought, well, if that can happen, that's the stuff of sci-fi and horror. If that can happen, that means anything can happen. So I used to think, I have to do this job because it's all mapped out for me. Everything is a given. But is it?
Should I start yoga now?
Exactly. Should I run off and hurry up and train as a yoga instructor since that's my real passion? So when a recruiter calls me up, headhunting me for my accounting position, I'm not running anymore saying, yes, please, I'll go for an interview. Now I'm thinking, actually, I don't know if I want to be an accountant anymore.
You need to convince me that I still want to be an accountant.
Millions died when they said they wouldn't. Pandemics happened that was the stuff of TV and Hollywood that they said it was too fantastical to be real, and yet it happened. So maybe I don't want to do what's mapped out for me. And I think there is this collective pause, and everybody's on pause.
Isn't it, though, also a realization of our mortality?
Yeah, I think, yeah. And I think it also highlighted the discrepancy again, as always these things do, between the haves and the have-nots. So there was all this data and research that came out that certain sectors of the population were worse hit because they were in poorer economic situations or geographical areas. So again, people that were okay had a new gratitude, weren't taking so much for granted, spent time with family and loved ones they couldn't before. People that traveled for a living extensively suddenly were grounded to a halt, home, stuck. New appreciation for a calmer life. Don't have to take part in office politics. I don't have to see that person I don't like. They're just a little dot on my screen. So maybe I don't want to change. Maybe I'm going to see where I am and see. And because the market now is so candidate, it's definitely candidate driven. So there's so many jobs out there and there's such a demand in all sectors. Candidates are also, they're in this sort of false sense of security. I say false because I think it's going to change again, which is always unfortunate. So they're all sitting there thinking, well, it's okay. I've got time. There's tons of jobs. The recruiter called me on Monday. She'll call me again in 3 months, in 6 months. I'll take my pick.
Wow.
It's interesting.
I've never felt my CV was so wanted before. So this is a time and age to feel valued for your...
I think so. I think it's caused both employers and candidates to take stock and maybe see if their values were in the right order to begin with, because employers got stung badly and so did some candidates. So I think now it is making things. That's why there's all this, there's all this drive for wellness and well-being and remote working and flexibility and hybrid models. And there's a constant trend of content that is quite repetitive now. I'm getting quite bored of it, but it's all the same discussion.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about, before we began the podcast, about when to leave.
When to leave a job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's related with COVID right now.
Yeah.
When is the right point to leave? When are you breaking the trust? When is it more profitable for you or for the business?
I mean, I think, like I said to you earlier, it sounds very cold, but ultimately it's transactional. So when you join a company, everybody's offering the other, hopefully, a fair exchange of services and time. So if I've given you honestly my time and expertise, and for whatever reason it's time to move on, then I think that's your prerogative. I don't think employees owe employers more than that. It's not emotional. You might have had a great time. You might really value your manager, but it's time. There's nothing wrong with saying that. What I think you owe the employer at that point is honesty. So what I don't agree with are candidates that don't give their employer due notice or don't give them constructive feedback. I, as an employer, would really appreciate it when staff leave. Tell me what I did right, what I did wrong, give me some exit interview stuff. So I think once you've been honest and transparent, it's a bit like a breakup, you know. Be respectful, it was fun, but it's over. So, you know, you have to kind of have that healthy communication and do the right thing.
But because if it's a breakup, I don't know, people sometimes get bad feelings about you, or they feel betrayed.
Sure. They'll get over it. It's how it goes, you know, and any employer that hires somebody, same with a relationship. You get into it not knowing how it's going to work out. I don't expect the people on my team to stay with me until they retire. I hope that they stay as long as they feel it's good for them.
Yeah, it's how you go into a relationship.
Yes.
It's especially if you're a small, medium business, though.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, you're
Really
investing
tough.
on people.
Yeah.
And when you see all this startup thing, like, yeah, we go in, we have this ping pong tables, team building experiences, and whatever. And this is all to build a team, build the mentality that we're all working for a cause.
Yeah.
And when you leave, you're betraying the cause. You're not betraying the team, you're betraying the cause.
It shouldn't be that way, though. That's really heavy. I mean, it's like, you know, you don't buy somebody's soul. You know, they came to work for you, you paid them. It's a transaction. They did their job, the job description was fulfilled. I'm happy as an employer. I can't blame them when they're ready to move on. I may have done nothing wrong. Maybe it's just time. Maybe somebody headhunted them for more money than I can give them. Then you have to hold your hands up and say, with good grace, thank you. Because you gave me a year of your life, for example. That was nice service. Best of luck. Let's stay in touch. There's no reason for it to be dramatic.
If someone paid more to get your employee or someone you're employing, it's actually, you can see it from another point of view and say, okay, I was having this person here who's worth this, and I was paying much less.
Yeah.
So it's a win situation.
I did good for as long as I could, but then I lost them. You know, what can you do?
Yeah.
I don't think it should be. We do hear stories locally, especially in Cyprus, this culture where it tends to be a bit more drama prone, where you hear people scared, I mean, actually scared to leave because they're worried that the employer will take it so badly that they will put the word out and try and thwart them from other jobs. And we've heard of it happen. And that's occupational bullying. Okay. Essentially, it's a very serious issue. In other countries, we have tribunals and legal means to combat that. In Cyprus, we're a little bit limited. So people in Cyprus do have to be, sometimes they have to be mindful of things that it's a real shame. They shouldn't have to be.
But I mean, do you even want to work for a company that takes, you know, recommendations from other companies? Like, if a company is not going to hire me because my previous employer told them not to, do I even want to work for such a company? I
would agree. You shouldn't want to, but sometimes they also don't know that it's happening. You know, it's tiny communities. When it's really small, this is the issue.
Yeah, we're talking about small and medium businesses, which is, I think, 70 or 90.
No, but the job market, the whole of the companies, there's only a finite number of employers. We're not massive like other economies. Yeah, so everybody knows everybody. So somebody, if they want to bully, they can.
Yeah, but you have to value yourself as an employee.
Totally agree.
If I'm gonna be rejected by a company just because they heard, it's like dating. Like you said, like if I'm gonna approach a girl and she doesn't even want to date me because my ex told her that I'm mean or bad in bed or whatever, and she doesn't want me, then I don't want her, because like I want to be judged by who I am.
And your merit.
Yeah, my merits.
Agreed.
So it should be the same for companies. Yeah. Like if you don't want me, because someone.
But this is nothing to do with fairness. This is old school primitive mentality, and we do have business people like that take it as an ego hit. you're leaving me? And it's this transference of emotion.
Yeah.
And you think, you know, I was your bookkeeper, not your wife. And cheat on you and found a new job. But there is this over emotive, dramatic, and we do have it, but you know, we're a very dramatic culture with a lot of passion and sentiment, and we're in the middle of a Middle Eastern hotbed. It's kind of how we roll. Makes it interesting. But you have to be a bit careful.
So, as a Cypriot, what you said, I was born and raised here with all the values and
Indeed.
all the cool stuff that comes with it. How should you approach this kind of getting into this kind of business? Like, okay, my employer needs this amount of dedication. Should I look happy about it? Should I look devoted to it? Should I play the part?
You mean if they work for a company like that?
Yeah. If they're looking for someone, am I kidding myself? Am I playing it? Am I too theatrical? Are they?
I mean, usually those types of employers have that as a reputation. And in Cyprus, when you go for a job locally, you can do your own due diligence and you can check people out. It works the other way too. And sometimes employers forget that. And actually now with COVID, they're having to relearn it. You have to brand yourself as an employer because now it's a candidates market. So if you have a reputation for pulling stuff like that, you won't attract talent. So if employees know that about a company and choose to take the job there, you're signing up for that part. Hopefully you've got the stomach for it. But again, it's going to be transactional. You will last as long as you can, and then you'll move on.
So employers need to also put up a good name for themselves.
Massive. It's very important. It's a really hot topic at the moment. And because...
up until now, it's like you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
Maybe I want you, maybe I don't.
Not anymore. Now it's gone completely on its head. And that's globally. That's even the US. It's massive economies. Candidates are not jumping at the chance to work for you. They want to know what they're going to get. And they're wanting to know more about the intangible benefits. So it isn't just about salary anymore.
So get out the ping pong tables.
Ping pong tables, but more than that, it's quality of life stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not willing, as a parent, a working parent, to just work every hour that God sends, to do unpaid overtime anymore. You've got a shortage, not me. I've got a job. So if you want me, I want to know, what are you going to do to help me in the afternoons when I don't have somebody to pick up my 5 children, whatever. God, 5. But, you know, that's the stuff.
What about my health insurance? What about, I have a wife, maybe she gives birth. She doesn't work here, but I want to...
you want to know that you're cared for.
Yeah.
So salary is one thing, but employer branding now, if you want to retain staff, because it isn't just about getting them, how are you going to keep them? It's offering them the quality of life stuff because they've all been through a lot with COVID and everything else. So they want to know what you're going to do.
Actually, what I've heard is like people are willing to get less salaries for more what
flexibility. Yeah.
Tangible stuff.
Yep. Yeah. There's been a lot of research commissioned by the Big Four about retention and turnover at the moment. And people are saying, you know, for example, with remote working, I think it was 45% of a sample in the US. I think it was KPMG that did that one.
Okay.
And they basically said it was a huge lump of the data set said they would quit before they gave up remote work. They won't go back.
Okay.
They don't want to go back to the way it was before. They like being able to pick up their kids and not stress and worry and drive 4 hours commuting to work. They don't want to do it.
And suddenly that I was reading at the joke page, like because of COVID, you realize that suddenly that important meeting could have been an email.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it has made people a lot more efficient because they've had to be.
Are there any statistics? I feel there's a statistic that says this, that most of the time spent on work, it's for meetings or for unimportant stuff.
Yeah.
And not actually working.
Yeah, I mean, actual productivity.
That is shown, they shown during COVID.
Yeah, that they did without it all and still worked quite fine.
Yeah. Because of, I think remote work put things into perspective, like being objective based. That we need to finish this.
Yeah.
by this day.
Well, and also you're more time efficient because you're not wasting time in travel. So if you look at bigger economies, like in England, I used to drive an hour and a half one way to go to work. So if I've gained 3 hours on my work day.
You can do yoga.
Could do yoga. Don't think I damn like. Got 3 hours. The gift of time. Whoever gets the gift of time. COVID gave us the gift of time.
I think last question is, it started with tech, but now with remote work, the personal time, and personal space, even more, went into the job space. Like, even if you commuted for 3 hours every day, you still have, this is where I'm working. So by the time I get into my car to go to my job, I need to be this kind of person. So I put this image on.
Collect yourself.
Put your suit on, put your tie, and you go there. I've seen it most of the time when you see people outside their work, like short pants, like playing football, and you're like, "God, you're that guy? You came with a tie in my office? Do a presentation?" So that's the role you play in a day, like 8 hours or 10 hours. But now you're at home. So that role went away, or it mixed with your personal space. How do you manage that?
I mean, I think anybody who works from home predominantly will tell you it's better to separate the physical space. You have an office that is away from the communal environments. But I still think, and you see, because we're still in COVID, it's too early for there to have been research and for us to see the full effects of this. I'm not a fan of full remote working, which is a hugely unpopular point of view, but I'm not, for the mental health reasons that you're touching on. Because when all the boundaries are blurred, and when people don't get that dislocation from home, and they don't get to embrace their professional attributes in a way that they can almost morph into their professional selves, I think we're going to have issues. And I think there'll be issues at work, because I don't believe that the human element, that intangible chemistry from being in your physical presence, can be replaced with any amount of software. I don't care how good the headphones are or the video quality or the pixels, whatever. It's not the same. I don't get a real sense of you if I'm not in your space. But if I'm in your space 24/7, spouse, daughters, family members, you're going to go mad. I think it's healthy, and there has to be some balance. That's why I like the split model. I think it's very nice to offer it as a perk, not a given, that people have the option to work remotely a certain amount of time. But
3
there
days
should be
in a week. Maybe, or
but I think there has to be some commitment to our professional lives, because all that blurring, I think we're going to see the downsides to it in the years to come. I don't think it's realistic.
Okay, I don't want to close with that. I don't want to close with that. So let's go to something happier.
Cheerful.
Cheerful.
Happy.
Can you I'm forgetting the word.
Can you
no. Can you make an employer pay you more?
Can you? Well, I have to be careful with your language, because now you're saying, can you make them?
With a hammer.
No. I was looking for a word like.
Can you convince them? You mean?
Convince them. Yeah, that's a better way.
That's what appraisals are for.
What's an appraisal?
An appraisal, your performance appraisal, which you should have at least once a year, where you sit with your manager and evaluate your performance and your salary. So if you think you're owed more money, you should make your case. It's not a given, but ultimately companies are built with budgets, and there's always maths behind them. So you can ask for another 10K a month, but if I don't have it, you can't have it. So you have to be realistic, is what I mean. And you have to base it on something tangible. So you want more money from me? Tell me what you did to earn it. Why should I? Make your case.
Take some boxes.
Yes, give me some evidence. Give me scenario-based. Wishy-washy, I feel like, it doesn't help me.
I was reading somewhere that they said the worst thing you can do as an employee is not share how much you're making.
Or share how the worst thing you can do is
share. With other.
Yes,
yeah.
you shouldn't discuss salary.
No. They said that the worst thing you can do is that you don't discuss your salary with others doing the same job as you.
Oh.
Like not discuss like if someone asks you how much you're making, you should be able to say like around that thing, around the number, because it devaluates your work. So if you're, I don't know, an auditor or in tech or a developer, let's say you're a developer and a good developer, and you go to a company and they say, okay, I'm going to give you 100K a year.
Yeah.
Because I value you this much.
Yeah.
And someone else goes to a different company. They want the same developer and they say, okay, I'm going to give you 80K a year.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
That doesn't create a baseline.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant colleagues in the same department. Okay. Yeah. So they should be able to be transparent and say, I was offered 100K.
Yeah.
You're offering
I'm making 100K.
Yeah, but money should be in the, when people are job seeking, going through the recruitment process. I mean, our advice would always be to be transparent about money from the get-go. Don't waste time. There's absolutely no point going on interviews if people don't know what your budget is to begin with. And a good recruiter will get that from you, and the client will know as well before they meet you, this person is interested in this part of my budget. If I can't reach that, they're not going to be interested.
So the first thing you talk about is money.
And one of the first things we screen for, both sides.
Yeah.
So clients give us vacancies, we want some sort of salary range. When we talk to a candidate, we ask them, would you be happy with this sort of range? What is your number? What are you looking for? The other question that's always good is you ask them what they need to move. If I'm poaching you, if I'm headhunting, you must have a number that you're willing to leave and go through the change for.
There's two questions. How do I value myself?
Yeah.
First, and am I asking enough? Like, let's say that I'm valuing myself, that I'm good enough to be able to make like 100K a year.
Yeah.
So if you want me, you need to pay me 100K a year.
Yeah.
And from the other side, they're like, only 100K? From whatever I've interviewed until now, they wanted 200K a year.
Yeah.
So is it when I'm getting the job, I'm like, fuck, I could have asked for more.
Yeah, that would be a real bummer.
How do you do that?
Well, most people know their market rate. I mean, the markets fluctuate, but not wildly. Most people know at the level they're at what they're earning. And the truth is, I mean, especially in a market as small as Cyprus, nothing's secret. You're going to know if the guy in the company down the road is making double. Word gets out, and this is another thing we're telling clients. You have to brand yourself as a good employer. If you're paying below market rate, it will get out. You will lose staff. Recruiters will poach from you easily because your employees are ripe. They will leave you.
Okay.
So everybody knows who lowballs and who actually pays.
So I'm going to take as a granted that you're going to make more money from people that want to find jobs.
Well, the funny thing is that the job seeker doesn't pay us. It's the company that pays us. So if I find you a job, if I poach you from your current employer, where I take you, they pay the commission, not you. You don't pay anything. The only things the candidates pay for are if they hire us for one-to-one sessions. So if you hire me for coaching, you will pay me by the hour.
Okay.
But that's for your personal development. But if I find you a job, the company's paying, not you.
There's a lot of people wanting to ask that question. I forgot about it.
Yeah, a lot of people ask that as well.
Thank you. So I think that's our episode.
I think
did you have fun?
I did. I talk about what I do quite a bit, but it's never the same as if I'm talking to somebody who's animated. And you have a very animated face. And it's very funny. So cute.
So, friends and viewers and whoever is still watching, you can find this episode on Spotify. You can also find it on YouTube if you are already on Spotify. If you come up to this point, it means you finished the episode. So you can tell it to your friends. Or you can follow us, or like, or subscribe to our page. You get our new episodes. I like the English version. I want to find people...
More English speakers.
Yes.
Your English is great. You should go for it.
Thank you.
I know lots.
That's the first compliment you ever made me since this interview.
Is it really? No.
Needy.
Anyway, thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Idiaiteros Tipos 44. Katerina from HR Innovate. Ciao.
Bye.